Okay, so for this collection drawing, we are going to go through one start to finish. This is one where you could possibly do it in an hour if you wanted to, where we actually going to be doing the coloring on the computer. The initial drawing is all of the objects are going to be on one sheet, and it's just going to be black outline, and then we'll scan, and then we'll add the color. And this one's going to be focused on a small collection, okay? So it's kind of makes sense that the paper that I'm using is 7 by 7 because what I'm going to be drawing it's a handful of my buttons and badges and brooches and pins and all of that stuff that it's a collection. It's a mega collection. I wear these guys all the time because, again, all of these pins kind of tell a different story. And again, so I'm just kind of like arranging the possible composition that I might draw here. And so this composition is actually kind of the size of the paper too. So I'm kind of almost doing like a one-to-one drawing here too. And let's go. So this first pin that I'm doing is, I had a friend in grad school. His name was Richard Schwartz, who was wonderful. He was this amazing ceramicist. And he also happened to work at TGI Fridays, where you had to have like lots of flair. And at the time I was doing work with, just like I was making buttons. I got my first button maker, and he saw that I was doing stuff with buttons, and he came to my studio and had this big box with him and said, "Kate, I have something for you that I want you to have. I want you to have all of my flair." And I was just like, "Oh my God, I get all of your flair?" And it was just like, it was his suspenders and there was buttons all over the place. And I seriously don't know what happened to the suspenders and all the other buttons. And the only button that I have remaining from the incredible gift of all of Richard Schwartz's flair is this truly amazing Elvis Costello button, which I love. And now I'm gonna draw Elvis Costello. So, God, what a great gift. And I've kind of picked this to be the focal point of the drawing just because, well, it's a face. And so to have that be the center image just kind of makes a little bit of sense. Again, like we were talking in with the other print, like perfection isn't what we're going after here. It's just figuring out the best way to tell the story, exploring marks and lines, and just kind of having fun with it. Okay, so Elvis is basically done. Elvis has left the building. Okay, that was really stupid. The next one I'm going to do is this really simple pin that I've had for years and years. It actually glows in the dark. And it just has a hand that says "okay" on it. And I was teaching a workshop in Savannah, Georgia, and a printmaking student made this, and she gave it to me after the workshop. And I had such a fun experience there, and I love this pin, and the student was really rad. And I don't know, it reminds me of like good teaching experiences. And then also I just really like the sentiment behind it too, where it's just kind of like, okay. So we've got okay. So that was easy, done, quick. Like again, like the first round that we did, you can take a little bit longer, you can kind of do more bite-sized drawings. And then this process for drawing collections, it can also be a quicker one sit-down experience too. This pin says "Hot Dogger" on it, and my friend Nicole gave it to me, and she had picked it up at a thrift store, and I just love it. Number one, it's a hot dog. Who doesn't like hot dogs? The next one that I'm doing is this Stay Posy pin, which my friend Alex gave me, and it's a good sentiment that I try to adhere to, but a lot of times I'm not successful. But it's a good reminder to stay positive, stay posy. And then I have a thing for pretzels. I've kind of always loved pretzels. I kind of think soft pretzels or hard pretzels are the perfect food. Pretzel time. So this was a button from one of my favorite shops here in Portland called Reading Frenzy. And I picked this up, I think right when I first moved to Portland. And so this button was just kind of a little bit of a memento of just like the excitement that I felt when I first moved to Portland several years ago. Plus I like the sentiment on it where it just says, shut up and read. Okay. And then this is a Shrinky Dink, actually, that was made by one of my colleagues, Tia Factor at Portland State University. And she just gave it to me out of the blue one day, which I thought was really, really sweet. Okay, so I've almost got all of the objects drawn. And now this is where I decide if I want to add any additional commentary to it. And I probably will, just a little bit. So I'm just going to write a couple words. Again, you don't have to do this, but this is just what I'm going to do. And it could be stuff that's obvious to the viewer, or it could be just like internal dialogue that you want to put down on the paper too. Okay, so I think I'm going to be done with this at this point, and now I'm going to be scanning this in and coloring it on the computer.